When I'm always walking down the block of Staten Island or something, I'm always watching my back because I know the history, not the history, but the background a little bit of Staten Island. So I kind of just watch my back. I look over my shoulders, left to right, to make sure nobody's following me or acting suspicious.
Exactly. Would you say that being that you might have grown up, or not might have, but that you did grow up in a high crime area, right?
Right.
How was that for you, especially seeing this show and seeing that you could relate to it because of these things that you have also witnessed?
I, for me, for me and my dad owning a business, we have lost a couple of customers because of that area. We had like elderlies that came over in a van, like the service van, to get their haircuts, but the program, I guess, that they're in, they didn't like the area, so they made them stop coming in our area because it was a crimed area, and we was not in a crimed area, but we was across the street from a crimed area.
Yeah, the block in particular isn't really high crime rate all the time, but I'll say up the block and then in that specific area, things can happen. Of course, it's safer than it was back then, but I've heard that in the early 2000s and in the 90s when you were already there, it was worse. So if we're speaking about it through that time, I could completely understand, but I had no idea that y'all went through stuff like that.
Right.
Wow, exactly. So if you were to get on CEA, you would have a lot to speak about, even though I would rather keep you safe from this type of show because it's still decent and it's still truthful and it's still positive. But when you're a journalist when you're speaking about topics like this, I just want you to understand that
you have to be careful where you walk at when you're talking about these. Actually, no, when you start a journalist show or episodes and seasons, and you start walking out, you got to be careful because you're a journalist and you experienced these while you're walking outside. And when you talk more about it on your show or something, then you have to be even more careful because you don't know who behind you or in front of you or the side of you or who's following you with something in their hand.
Yeah, in certain countries, being a journalist is actually one of the most dangerous occupations that you can have. And it's not because they're particularly bad people. It's not because you're actually doing something wrong. But it's because when you speak the truth, when you shed light on these topics, when you stand up for moral reasons, you're always going to have that resistance of evil or those demons or that badness that's out there, interfere with what you got happening because unfortunately, for them, not for us, our victory in speaking the truth and being an honest person is their loss in the form of life because they won't be able to fool or they won't be able to have unrighteous control of society or of the people in this world like they would if they keep them in fear and if they keep them in that state of intimidation.
Right. And then I think it also is that you talking about this also almost not putting your life on the line, but you putting yourself almost in that dangerous topic because of people out there, right?
As well, of course, yeah. And I'm not even trying to front on that. That's the reason why I would be mindful of having particular people on the show because just because I agree with the fact that there is risks involved in life and just because I am in the position to take them doesn't mean that all people will be. So I'm understanding of that and I'm respectful with people, and if you don't want to get involved in stuff like that, I would completely understand 100% because at the end of the day I feel like because I'm so selfless, it's better to kind of put myself at risk than put somebody else. I would rather keep you safer and away from the world of rap. For example, a lot of stuff happens in the world of rap. You could leave me there and you can just do your thing with pop music and stuff like that. Or in the world of being a journalist. And if you ever do decide to speak about these things, then it'll be on you, but it's not something that I I pressured you to do,
Right. And as you got to know me a little bit, you know that I barely listen to the stuff that we have nowadays, like rap and all those other stuff. Journalists talking about the real world. I'll understand that. But the rap, I kind of stay away from it because now it's not just them rapping about their lives. They're just arguing with other rappers. So I stayed with the old school music like Billy Joel or the 2000 musics and everything.
I got you. Rap nowadays is very out of proportion. And I believe a part of that is the fact that society is more demoralized now than they were back in the 90s or 80s. And crime rate might have been high around that time, but I'm speaking about the way people think. Being an immoral person is not always something that you can see as far as that person being in jail or being involved in the world of crime. They can just be immoral when it comes to having that principle of being an honest person with people. So they don't always have to be the worst person in the world to just have no values,
Right.
Exactly. And life is very subjective. There's a lot of things that can occur at whatever moment, and that's why we just have to be prepared for it mentally, spiritually, and in a physical way. And my objective is to help you with your dreams, but at the same time, my objective is to keep you safe from a lot of this stuff in the entertainment, world. I don't want you to necessarily get involved in all the things that I might get involved in, because what might be something that might not impact me as much might impact somebody else. Not particularly you, but somebody else. I got into a horrible crash with my bike in California. So people got into a horrible crash and they died. So we can't really compare each other. And who knows, it might really be my purpose to be out in the front lines and to stand up against all this evil out here. And I'm not saying it's not in your purpose or in their purpose, but maybe I might have to be in the front. And that's my job.
So basically, you're trying to say you got to be the bigger person for the youth and show them how you should actually grow up, or what's your spot to be in, right?
Yeah, like a lot of the topics that I'm speaking about in these shows, not just in the show that has to do with crime, but in the show that has to do with life, are things that I've experienced, is stuff that I've had to go through, is a perspective that is being told from an insider, from somebody who was actually there and has gone through that blood, sweat, and tears. So I was put in a position to already deal with this stuff. Not all people were put in the same position. I'm sure you've gone through some stuff, but maybe you haven't gone through the same things as me. And so it gives me the green light to say that, I've had to go through these strong experiences. Not that you haven't, but I've had to go through a lot of these strong experiences because I'm supposed to be a soldier out in the front lines for God. And you can still be that too.